wedding rehearsal dinner, getting ready to do good time with you guys.
I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, all good. I was like, yeah, Wednesday works great. And then I know there was obviously some stuff that happened and they had to move it. And I was like, yeah, I'll make it work.
Thank you for being super flexible.
Thank you so much. I mean, the backstory for folks listening is this on Venice. And given the COVID India situation, we, for the first time ever, we had to cancel on somebody, and because there's the urgency of the COVID India thing, then you folks have been so gracious and so kind, and we're just so excited to have you all today.
Thanks for having us on. We're excited.
Awesome.
Hey, David, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. How's everyone doing today?
Good. Very excited to kick this off. Thanks for making time on a Friday evening.
Of course.
Fatoki's the only one in the group. He strolls in like 3 minutes late. I like it, David.
I was not trying to be fashionably late, but I'll take the card on that one.
I see Alex over here. Hey, Alex.
Oh, hey, Alex.
Hey, guys.
Welcome. This is very much your turf, so we figured you should be here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. We're going to give it a minute or two for folks to trickle in, and then we will get going for what should be a really, really, a fun episode. This is so exciting. I think there's been a lot of interest from a lot of fans here today, and this is really exciting.
Yeah.
Should we get going?
Yeah, we should get started, Sriram.
All right. Okay, you folks have maybe, I don't know if you've listened to the show before, but this is my, kind of like 2-bit audio hardware equipment, but here it goes.
Live from San Francisco and here on Clubhouse, it's The Good Time Show, bringing you today in technology. And now your hosts, Arti and Sriram.
Awesome. Hey, folks, welcome to tonight's episode of The Good Time Show.
Live from
Sriram?
Sorry. I got too enthusiastic over there. That's my bad.
Did you want to go one more time?
Yeah. I got too hyped.
Yes. Okay. Hey, folks, welcome to tonight's episode of Good Time Show. This is Aarti and Sriram. We usually do this show about 3 or 4 times a week, and we've been doing this for a few months. And we tend to cover things around technology, around current culture, around music, TV shows. NFTs has been a really good topic, and it's a lot of fun. We've gotten a lot of feedback from people who are just really excited about what we cover, the space that we give for people, for creators, for builders to come in and tell their story. And tonight we're doing this a little bit earlier. It's 6 p.m. PST. So thanks for folks who are joining in, especially folks who are joining in for the first time. And tonight we just, as no exceptions, we again have like some really awesome guests. And we are going to cover something that's been pretty important, like as a hot topic. And so with that, let me kick off the guests who are joining us tonight. First, we have Brandon Schneider, who's the president and CEO of the Golden State Warriors. Brandon, thank you so much for coming on board. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Arti. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. And then we have Kirk, who's the EVP Basketball Operations for Golden State Warriors. Welcome, Kirk.
Thanks for having me. Excited to do this.
And really happy you're able to call in from wedding rehearsal. I will make this way more fun than the rehearsal there. And then we have David Fatoki, who's who's leading basketball operations for the Golden State Warriors. David, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited here.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we never thought we'd have a show with the leadership team of the Golden State Warriors. This is kind of a dream show for us. So we're so excited to have you all here. And then finally, we have Alex Atallah, who's, OpenSea co-founder, and needs no introduction. Alex, you've been here before. This is such a great topic, and we thought we should have you here. Thanks for making time and being here.
Thanks for inviting me. And we had Brandon earlier today in our Discord doing an AMA.
Great. That's awesome.
He was asking him questions. It's very interesting.
Great. This is going to be better. Awesome. So take it away.
Okay, so we have a lot of fun things to cover today. The reason we're having this conversation is because they really have a historic first ever NFT drop by a wait, I see Paul over here. Let me get Paul up. Hey, Paul.
Hey, what's up? Happy Friday, everybody.
Hey, welcome.
Happy Friday.
Oh man, excited to be here. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not familiar, Paul is the co-founder and CEO of Clubhouse, the app here, and thanks for joining us. Paul, this is a very exciting episode. I think the first time we've had leadership of a pro sports team over here. This is going to be a fun show.
Not just a pro sports team, the Golden State Warriors.
There we go.
Come on.
I'm telling you folks, like Brandon, Kirk, and David, we got you here under false pretenses. You've been lied to. Because the part that you didn't know was I spent most of last decade as a huge LeBron fan. So we don't want to get into it. But there might have been a time when I was kind of rooting against the Warriors. But we're not going to get into that tonight.
I mean, we can talk about that if you want. We have good we have good memories of those matchups. Maybe better memories than you do.
I choose to remember only one game and one play. But yes, everything else is it's a haze. I see it on YouTube, but I can't remember any of it. But thank you all. So we're going to go deep into the historic NFT that is happening in partnership with OpenSea, which I think really ties back a lot of that history. But Brandon, David, Kirk, I think one interesting, fun way to start off is just this season. Steph has been even more unreal than he usually is. Talk to us about him this season and what this season means, and then I'm going to go back into just the historic last decade and over that you folks have had. So let's start with how has this season been so far?
Brandon, you want me to take this one?
I mean, it's your job, so probably.
No, this has been a really interesting season. Sriram, I'll point out. I mean, 3-1 I know is a big deal in the kind of lore of Warriors versus Cavs. I would like to point out that we did win 3 out of the 4. We were up 3-1 still.
That is true. Wikipedia says that, but I don't remember any of it.
You guys, all the LeBron fans seem to remember a different 3-1. I remember a more important 3-1, which is we're up 3-1. No, this has been an interesting year. We've had a lot of ups and downs, but I think if we want to focus on Steph Curry, wow, he has been otherworldly. He is, and I actually was telling people this weekend, but he is honestly a better person than a basketball player, if that's even possible. He is somebody that everyone can look up to and actually believe in. And it's really, really cool to see someone at the height of their powers, regardless of what it is, whether it's basketball or any sport or starting a company, whatever. He is at the absolute height of his powers, and it's unbelievable to watch. It's really, really cool.
You think he should win MVP?
Do I think absolutely? I mean, is there a narrative to this that he, might not end up with it? Of course, but if you're talking about the most valuable player, this guy is he's something else, and he is on and off the court. I mean, he is everything that epitomizes the Golden State Warriors. This guy is incredible. Yeah, he should be MVP of everything, not just the NBA, everything.
And so I agree with that. And Sriram, it's kind of funny as you think about this. So Kirk and David can relate, obviously, because we've been at these games together. But earlier in the year, Steph goes for a career high 62 points, and there was about 100 of us in the stands watching. Because of COVID, it's been such a different year. So these moments, that was one. And then the other night when he passed Wilt Chamberlain for our franchise scoring record. And again, there's 100 people in the stands. It's a few of us, employees, owners, a couple of friends and family of the players, and that's it. So we finally now, the last 3 games, have been able to welcome fans back to Chase Center. But that's certainly added to the to the narrative around this season.
I want to get into that because I think it's been really interesting to, last year was obviously the bubble, and this year is under limited fans. It feels like the world changed once that, the Jazz game, was canceled last March. But I want to get into that. Brandon, I think one thing which really struck me was this video which went viral about, Steph consoling Clay, which I think ties into, when you look at the team, they seem like such a family. And how is and I think all of Golden State seems like a family. But if you go back, like say 10 years ago when this team was starting to come together, the Golden State Warriors, if you go back into 10 years ago, this is not a team which was winning championships. So if you go all the way back, and you folks have been there around for a very, very long time, talk to us about the journey, because we as fans, we've seen it on the outside. Talk to us just about, some of the points in the journey from, going from, not seen as one of the top teams who's going to win every single championship to now, obviously 73 win season and, being one of the iconic teams of all time. So how has the journey been like? And let's maybe start like over a decade ago.
Well, I'll start. I mean, Brandon and I are both really long-term fans. We both grew up in the area. And I will admit, Brandon's probably a longer-term fan than me. He's quite a bit older than me. I'm sure he'll have a response to that. But we both grew up with fans of the team, and it was tough. It was. I mean, I will admit to you, I grew up thinking that going to NBA games, specifically Warriors games, was about free chalupas at Taco Bell. You score 100 points, you get a free chalupa, and frankly, maybe this was even one of Brandon's early promotions. I don't know. But it has changed so much, and you mentioned the word family. This really has become a family for me. I mean, it is a family business for me, but I do consider Brandon a family member at this point. We have spent a long time together. David Fatoki is a family member. I consider him like my younger brother. But Steph and Clay, I mean, these are guys I grew up with. We all came in at the same age at the same time, and it's pretty wild to see what they've accomplished, and really, really cool. I don't think in anybody's wildest dreams we imagined that we'd be able to win 3 championships in 5 years, other than maybe my dad Joe, who actually said we would. But we really didn't see this coming, and it's been an incredible ride. And I couldn't be happier to do it with great people like that. I mean, this is just the best, to be able to do it with people you love.
And I'll add on a little bit as Kirk's calling me the old guy, which I can't argue in this case. But I've been with the Warriors 19 years. So, Sriram, to your point, I've seen it all. So my first 10 years we were in an 18-year span where we made the playoffs once. Now, for those of you listening, someone hopefully has an analytics degree that can help me do the math here. We play in a league where 16 out of 30 teams make the playoffs. So in an 18-year span, you expect to make it 9 or 10 times. We made it once. So kind of hard to do. And the inflection point was November 12th, 2010, when Joe Lacob and Peter Guber bought the Warriors. It starts at the top. And when that happened, everything changed. And it took, we had a lockout year. But, we then started 7 straight playoff appearances, 5 straight runs to the finals. We're the first team to do that since 1966, the Celtics. First team in any major professional sport in this country to do it since 1984. That was the New York Islanders, by the way. But it's been an incredible run, as you saw the early days with Steph playing with Monte Ellis back then, and then the big trade with Andrew Bogut. And, if Joe was here, he would talk about getting booed at center court, during the Chris Mullin jersey retirement right after that Monte Ellis trade. And then those boos very quickly changed, as we started to win and a couple good playoff runs, and then of course got into the 2015 season when we won our first championship. So it's been an incredible journey, and the fun part is we had a little hiatus last year, and this year's been a little different. But as we get and we still think we're gonna have a nice playoff run this year. But as we look ahead to next year, getting Clay back healthy, we expect to get right back into that championship window.
I love it. And one of the things I think, Kirk, I think, I loved kind of reading some of your dad's interviews and just, interviews is just the organizational dynamics of running a sports team. So a lot of our listeners here, work in the tech industry, they run organizations, they run companies. Talk to us about what it means to run, amazing team. Because I think, to some extent, we all get, okay, you get amazing players and you get an amazing coach and, sort of the athletic skills and, the play involved. But from kind of an organization capability, like what does it take to actually build, such an organization?
Well, I'm gonna actually say something nice about Brandon for once here. I know it's rare, but it's all about people. My dad I was incredibly fortunate. I grew up in Silicon Valley during the 90s and 2000s. My dad was a prominent venture capitalist at Kleiner Perkins. And, he started over 75 companies. I'm sure he'll tell me it's more than that now. and a lot of them very successful. And he's always told me at the end of the day, you're investing in people. You're not investing in ideas. You're investing in people, and you expect those people to take you to the promised land. And we've taken the same approach with the Warriors. Invest in the best people, and that'll get you there. And look, we won a championship in 5 years, and he said after that, that's not good enough. I will never forget that moment. We won a championship, and I said, what do we do next? And he said, well, this is not good enough. We need to build a dynasty. We need to build something larger than a dynasty. And I think it's rare to see someone say, we've reached the pinnacle of what we do. Let's do more. And so I promised you I would say something nice about Brandon, but Brandon was here before that, and he saw, as he mentioned, one playoff appearance in 18 years, which is almost impossible in a league where more than 50% of the teams make the playoffs. And Brandon saw a sleeping giant, and he's been a huge part of that turnaround. He's one of 2 executives who made it through that period. Every other executive at the time has been let go, and he's about to be the president and COO. And that's a testament to him, because this is all about people. And Brandon is, I hate to say this, he's a really good guy, and he works really hard. It's very rare that I will give him that sort of, public affirmation, but I'm going to do it here because you guys asked.
Wow. How do you feel about that, Brandon?
I was going to say, the good news is I'm recording this, so I can remind Kirk when that comes in handy. But just to piggyback on what he said a little bit, it's pretty amazing. I mean, what he said is exactly the way that we've operated. Is getting the best people, and then it's letting them do their job, right? And that's everyone having the autonomy to do what they do best. Everyone's got their own area of expertise. Everyone's got a voice, in shaping the culture and shaping what we're going to do. So it's been a lot of fun. And then the other thing, I'll piggyback. Everyone listening, hopefully you're all Warriors fans, except for Sriram, but we'll convert you over the next hour.
I only remember one chase down block. That's the only thing I remember.
Oh my God, sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, your memory's not very good then, because there's a few other ones. But this is like, these are the guys, Joe Lacob, Peter Guber, the team. This is who you want owning the team that you love. Because, did you hear what he just said? We win a championship, and the next day he's talking about, okay, how do we win another one, right? We're always looking ahead. Peter Guber talks about this is the beginning of the beginning. And we always joke, when's the middle of the beginning, or the beginning of the middle? Or I don't think we'll ever get there, because we're always looking at, you win a championship, we want to win another one. We build Chase Center. It's like, okay, now what do we do, right? So this is an organization that we're never going to be satisfied, and it's always thinking about what's the new cool thing that we can do to engage fans. How are we going to keep winning? How do we get the next great player? That's how we're always going to think about things. So Kirk mentioned, we both grew up fans. As a fan, the Warriors couldn't be in better hands for us to be successful and to win championships.
I love that. Okay, before we get to the NFTs, I want to nerd out about basketball a little bit. And David, I would love to talk to you. Before this Warriors team, taking a shot from, taking the number of threes that the Warriors take, taking the kinds of shots that the Warriors take would have been unthinkable. We had never seen anything like the death lineup. We had never seen some of the, just the fluidity and the ball movement the Warriors have seen. So talk to us from a basketball perspective, just what, of course, outside of having once-in-a-lifetime players like Steph, Clay, Draymond, Kevin at one time, what have the Warriors done, and how has it impacted the game of basketball?
Yeah, I think that's very interesting you say that, because when you look back, especially on some of our earlier teams, 2015, 2016, 2017, I don't think we were necessarily trying to take a lot of threes. It kind of just happened for us. A lot of our guys were just naturally great shooters. And I think what Steve does best is he preaches to shoot the open shot. And then we just gave the guys the autonomy to shoot the shots that they thought and felt the best at that time. And when you give guys of this talent level, this magnitude, that type of freedom, and you really instill that confidence and belief within them, we kind of saw what happened with those years. Steph started shooting from everywhere, which I think now, Kirk will kind of laugh at this, but when we're sitting in our little section or our suite watching the game, we'll say Steph should shoot it all the time. He should shoot from half court. It's always a good shot because he's that good. And I think just that right there really changed the game. Once people saw the ball going in when Steph started shooting it, I think that kind of gave people the thought that they could do the same things he could do, which, we all know that not many people can do what he can do. But I think just kind of seeing the ball go in, from those distances at the rate that we were doing it was kind of the big key in unlocking the game of basketball, unlocking the pace and space, unlocking this free-flowing movement throughout the game of basketball that we all love to watch so much.
One play that Steph talks about and Steve talks about in some of his interviews is 5 years ago against the Clippers, where it's kind of hard to describe, but it's a play which I think all of us know really, really well, where Steph kind of dribbles around, I think, about like the entire Clippers team, and then, turns around and, hits the three. How much did shots like that change the game of basketball, not just for the Warriors, but now, if you look at, what James Harden has done, or if you look at a lot of other players, you've seen the stats on how the game is, nobody takes mid-range jumpers anymore. How much has it had an influence outside of the Warriors too?
Well, I'll start with this. I mean, I watched Dave play college basketball, so I'm going to give him a shout out in a second here. But, when you see a guy do what he did, and I know the exact play you're referencing, where he dribbles through four guys, and then just suddenly pulls up and turns around and shoots a three and makes it. And you're like, what the hell did I just watch? How did he make that? How was he open? How did he even get the shot up? What you learn, there's an old quote. I don't know how many diehard basketball NBA fans remember this, but Stephen Marbury was playing for the Knicks 20-something years ago, and he once said, this is very different context, but he said, any shot I take is better than any shot any of you guys take, to his teammates. And it was taken out of, in that sense, they were not a great team, and he was just saying, give me the ball. But in this case, like, Steph has become such an amazing shooter that it was literally any shot he took was a good shot. Now, I told you I'd turn this around. I watched Dave play in college. He played with my brother, and maybe my brother's listening, and he's going to feel shame over this, but Dave was an incredible offensive player. And I always felt watching that team, it's like, how does the coach not get the ball into Dave's hands? Any shot that he can take is a good shot for the team. And we're seeing that, it started at lower levels. Now you're seeing at the NBA level, there are people who are so incredibly talented that you just need to find a way to get those guys a shot. We're doing it with math to an extent, which is if somebody hits a certain shot or any shot at a certain percentage, you want that shot. It's a good shot. And I remember I did an ESPN article maybe 10 years ago where they talked about Steph and the advent of threes. And they were talking about, could Steph Curry shoot 10 threes a game? And I was quoted saying, like, yeah, that'd be awesome if we can figure out a way for him to get 10 threes a game. Like, the next thing is for us to figure out how to get him 10 shots a game. And at the time, I think we all thought it was, how do we get him 10 open shots? We now realize they don't even need to be open. You just need to get him 10 shots, and he's averaging more than 10 threes a game now. And it's amazing to see 10 years later how that has changed. But Dave, that was my one shout out to you. You were a heck of a shooter in college, heck of a scorer, and he actually did play professionally in Spain as well. I don't know if they gave him the same latitude to shoot.
It looks like we got nice Kirk today. We're getting. He's talking up about me and Brandon. That's big.
That's the rehearsal dinner talking.
There it is. One thing I'll add to what Kirk said is it's funny, but anyone who's played basketball here or you've kind of been around the team, there's a lot of these no, yes shots. And that shot right there that you were talking about, Sriram, Steve did the same thing. Like there's a funny clip on YouTube where you can kind of see him put his hands in the air. Like, what are you doing, Steph? And then he puts his hand on his head and it's just like, well, I guess he can do that. And I think at that moment, Steph just made every high school coach really mad, going like, oh my gosh, this is what my kids are going to do now. There were a lot of no shots because they didn't go in at the high school level.
Yeah.
One last question in basketball. I think this also ties back to the family. One of the things that really strikes me about the Warriors is, one of the reasons I think this is possible is because Steph, Clay, Draymond, Andre when he was here, just really trusting each other. Like we've all seen the crazy ball movement. We all seen the death lineup. How much of this was not just their incredible athletic and basketball ability, but them just being family and being unselfish?
it's a team sport, Sriram, right? Like at the end of the day, there's 5 people playing in concert. And basketball is interesting because one person can have an outsized impact on the game. But at the end of the day, it's not baseball. There's not like one-to-one discrete actions. Like it really does matter what the other 4 people are doing on the court. And I mean, it really is the sort of thing where like 1 + 1 can equal 3. You can actually really, what's the best way to describe this? I call people like amplifiers. You can amplify what somebody else does by doing a really good job. And yeah, we had an incredible group for a while that amplified what each other did. And you know, obviously we hope to regain it. Everybody hopes to achieve that. But I think you said it eloquently. Like, yeah, everybody does their part, and it's just beautiful to watch when it all happens in perfect sync.
That's awesome. That's great. This is quite the treat for people listening, because we don't often get to see how it works on the inside, or how you think about Steph Curry shots, what makes it in, what doesn't, like that kind of thing. It's just really great to hear. I want to switch topics just a little bit. We wanted to cover NFTs, and specifically, there's a big announcement this week on NFTs. You're the first pro sports team to release officially licensed, your digital collector of memorabilia. There's this whole NFT drop on OpenSea coming, or it's happening right now, and it ends tomorrow. And the one auctions end on Sunday. Talk to us about that, Brandon. I'll start with you first, and then I want to also get Alex in here and talk about the OpenSea platform itself. But Brandon, why don't you tell us, what is the NFT drop about? Why did you start it? Like, what's the history there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we are constantly trying to find ways to innovate and to engage our fans, right? And a lot of that's just paying attention to what's going on in the world. And NFTs have been around for years, as you guys know, but they've really started to take off in the last several months. And then the other thing that happened is, when NBA Top Shot really started taking off earlier this year, and that's when Kirk already made light of my age earlier, which I hope there's some HR professionals on here that can help me out later. But so when NBA Top Shot starts taking off, we start looking at it. We're like, God, this is awesome. And so, I'm on NBA Top Shot. I've got a bunch of moments. And so we started talking about it. We put together a cross-functional group to kind of kick it around. And we said, look, all these NFTs out there, but there's so many cool things that we could do for our fans. And so that's really where it started. So then we sat there and we said, okay, how are we actually going to do this? Right? This is new. We're the Warriors. We do all these different things, but we haven't done NFTs before. And so we started doing due diligence. We quickly realized OpenSea is the best marketplace. Okay, so let's do that. And then through OpenSea, we got introduced to Medium Rare, who's been a great partner to help us kind of work through this. And then it's just been a matter of okay, what are these different offerings? And so we wanted to create things for our fans that and for collectors that you couldn't necessarily own the physical thing, but we could make it digital. And Sriram, there's some things here that I think you'll be interested in. There's some ticket stubs from three championships. I think they were all against the Cavs, if I remember correctly. So there's
look, Kyrie had an injury one season, and that last season, I want to erase the memory of that Kevin. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I don't want to talk about it. You keep talking. I don't want to talk about it.
You know what they say about excuses, right? I don't know. This is a G-rated show, right? So I won't.
Yes, it is.
I won't give you the full expression. No, but so in all seriousness, we have two kind of different lines, if you will, and one is we took 10 of our most iconic moments, and so it's the Warriors. Most people don't know this. We actually won the first NBA championship in 1947. So you can own the ticket stub from that final clinching game.
Brandon, were you at that game?
Oh, that's good, Kirk. That was clever.
Kirk, you're good at this. We might have you back on. Despite you being a Warriors fan.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to co-host the show with us, Kirk? You're pretty good at this.
Well, he's only good if he's got
totally
me. He's only got me. He's only good if he's got me as the butt of his jokes. So we did. So we've got 10 NFTs referring to iconic moments in our history, and each one's a 1 of 10. And then we created a special golden ticket. So it's a 1 of 1 that encompasses our whole 75-year history. And that's one of the ones that ends on Sunday, the rest on Saturday. And then there's always been there's been this huge thing with NBA championship rings, and they've gotten bigger and gaudier over the years. We think ours are really tasteful. They're big still, but they're pretty cool. And it's the kind of thing where fans love seeing the player rings, but you can't own them. Well, until now. So we did for all 6 of our championship rings. For the first 3, we made them one of 25 NFTs. And then for the most recent 3, we made them one of 50. And we worked with Jason of Beverly Hills. They're 3-dimensional, cool, it twirls the ring so you can see all aspects of it. And the NFT is the same ring that the players got. And then one of the things that we wanted to do throughout this collection is how do we combine experiences and physical things with the NFTs, because we thought that was a good entree. Look, we know that there's going to be some collectors interested in these that are NFT veterans. And then there's going to be some of our fans that maybe don't know a ton about NFTs but get interested because of this. And so if you buy number 1 of 25, so the people that are fortunate enough to win the auction for number 1 of 25 or 1 of 50 will also get a physical ring with their NFT. So we thought that was a cool twist. And then 2 other things that we did. One is we created a one-of-a-kind ring. This is with Jason of Beverly Hills, who created the last 3 championship rings. And it encompasses all 6 of our rings. So you can go on gswnft.com and see the images to see what all these look like. But that one-of-one ring, so that's a one-of-one NFT, and whoever wins that auction, that's the other one that closes on Sunday, also gets the physical ring. And we were joking, when these auctions opened on Tuesday, I want that ring. And they're all telling me, well, you can't. There's only one of them. So that, we think that and the one-of-one ticket are going to be, probably the most sought-after items. And then the last thing we did, we took a page out of NBA Top Shot's book with the challenges that they do. So if you buy all 6 rings or all 10 ticket stubs, there's a special NFT that gets unlocked, and it's an NFT that we're not selling. It only gets unlocked if you buy, again, all 10 tickets or all 6 rings. So we thought that was a cool twist as well.
That's great. That's awesome. I think that's really special, especially the one-of-one auctions. I'm excited to see when it ends on Sunday. Alex, thanks for joining us today. And this is set up on OpenSea. So for folks who are listening in and who are not super familiar, can you talk to us about OpenSea as a platform itself, and then also talk about Golden State Warriors, the gswnft.com, the collection being hosted on OpenSea, and just your take on that.
Yeah, we've been really excited to work with the Warriors. The NFTs in general are this really brand new asset class that popped up at the end of 2017. And we built a marketplace, not quite sure where it would go. We were really excited about them. At the time, there was CryptoPunks and CryptoKitties, basically game items and the start of art. And then we saw a lot of different experiments kind of evolve over the years, growing very slowly until 2020, when things picked up and paced really quickly. And that brings us to where we are today, where NFTs are a way of attaching media to provably scarce digital tokens. And what that does is it makes these previously ephemeral digital experiences durable. And that matters a lot when people are spending most of their days online now and exchanging value digitally, just like the transition from exchanging information via newspapers to the internet. It's a very kind of similar transition that's happening with NFTs. With sports, before NBA Top Shot, I talked to a pro sports league about doing collectibles, and they didn't want to do it because they didn't want to be the first ones. And it turned out that the NBA would be the first pro sports league to experiment with NFTs, and that was Top Shot. And they've always been they've always been trying to push the envelope and be really innovative for a sports league, and they think like that. And it's always been kind of a question in my mind, who would be the first team to do it too? And the NBA had to kind of like come up with some guidelines for the teams. But the moment they finalized the guidelines, the Warriors approached us and were excited about not just doing the first drop, but also being really thoughtful about it. Because we don't really like doing NFT drops that are just, something hastily put together with not a lot of like innovative or unusual utility on the NFTs. Right. And like Brandon just said, there's quite a lot in this collection that makes it unique. There's set completion, there's physical redemption, there's unique art, there's real world goods. There's multiple types of collections combined into one. There's an artist collaboration with Black Madre, and it's all happening this week and culminating tomorrow. So we're really excited about it.
I think that's awesome. I think one of the things when I read about it, I think, Brandon, this might be you, if you can explain. There was one experience called Warrior for a Day or something like that, where you get to basically be a part of the Warriors. You like sign a contract and just do it. Like, that sounds like a lot of fun, but also terrifying. How did you come up with that? What does it even mean? I just wanted to get a sense of it.
Yeah, I mean, and Alex, what Alex said was really well said. And we alluded to the physical and all the different things that went into this. And I appreciate you mentioning Black Madre, because that was an important part of this is getting the right artist to really help us bring this to life. And I would put Warrior for a Day in the same categories. We wanted to create, again, a cool experience, and it's the person that buys that wins the auction for that one-of-one ticket stub gets to be Warriors for a Day. So you get to sign a one-day contract. You get courtside tickets for a game for two people. You get to watch pre-game from the floor. So it's a whole tour of the whole practice facility, which is unique, not something that we usually open up. So there's just a whole bunch of unique experiences that get to be part of that. And again, combining the NFT with experiences and physical goods. I like how you said that, Alex. We felt was important, especially for this initial release.
And Medium Rare, the kind of creative agency that put this together, they've been really trying to push the envelope, and they were pretty instrumental in a lot of this input. And we worked with them in the past on Rob Gronkowski's NFT collection, and that kind of got their wheels turning. So they also helped a lot here too.
That sounds really amazing, and all of the NFTs sound amazing. So just context, go check them out. We tweeted the links, and and check it out before tomorrow and Sunday. That just sounds awesome. Brandon, I think Alex just touched on something which I want to ask you and also Kirk about, which is you are the Golden State Warriors. You are in the heart of tech. Kirk, your family, is part of, one of the, legendary VC firms here, kind of built a lot of this place. Talk to us about just that, and also how, you folks have used technology and are very tech centric, because I think that's a really, really interesting phenomenon. Maybe Brandon, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, I think, I was asked, I forget who asked me this, but somebody asked me, do you guys feel pressure to be, technology forward because of where you're located? And I kind of laughed. And the answer is no. I think we see it as an opportunity. We're based in San Francisco around all these incredible tech companies that we've all heard of, and so it's just part of our DNA. One thing that I would say is important too is it's there's companies and there's teams out there that use technology just for the sake of using technology, and that's definitely not us. We always think about how do we create the best experience for our fans, and that means at Chase Center in person, but that also means digitally for our fans worldwide. I mean, we're fortunate to have an incredible fan base all parts of the world, and so we're constantly keeping up on what the new trends are and what the best way to engage with our fans and create that experience. So that's really the lens that we look at, and then we're fortunate to have partnerships with a lot of these big tech companies that we've all heard of, the Google Clouds and the Hewlett Packard Enterprise and, Oracle and Verizon and, I could keep going, Accenture that challenge us and that work with us Adobe, to be cutting edge and to think about what they're working on and how that can help us, be better at what we do. And the other thing that's interesting, because we're the Warriors and we've done a lot of these things, and because of where we're located, Kirk and David, myself, and a bunch of people that work with us get emails and notes from different startups that are trying to do different things, and they're reaching out. Maybe it's to sell us their product, or maybe it's to invest, or maybe it, for a variety of different reasons. But we get connected with so many different entrepreneurs that are looking at all kinds of different things, and our inclination is to listen to a lot of them, because I think we learn. We're not going to adopt what every single company is doing, but you often go, that's really interesting, and maybe that doesn't make sense. But what if we did this instead? So I think and we're involved. We just built our own suite resale platform, right? So people know that there's ways to resell tickets. There hasn't been a lot of ways to resell suites. So we built Suite Exchange, which we launched last year. So there's a lot of different ways it kind of manifests itself. But it's a fun ecosystem as we're constantly thinking about what's new. NFT is another example of something new that we're doing. But what's a new way to engage our fans?
You're going to turn Suite Exchange into NFTs?
I mean, yeah, who knows, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things that's cool about NFTs is we sit around, we have all kinds of different conversations, but we've got a specific task force that's been looking at NFTs, and we call it the digitization of our business. We've thought about how ticketing is going to work in the future. But yeah, I mean, we've kicked around so many different ideas of how how we can use NFTs in the future. Could you bifurcate, the utility of tickets, right? So right now people use a digital ticket on their phone with the barcode. That's how you scan and get into the game. But, some people don't like that as much because they like the old school physical ticket, as a souvenir. And the collection that we're talking about right now has these 10 historic ticket stubs, which are out of this world. A ticket stub from 1947, right, and the art and all that stuff. But could we have something where in the future, when you buy a game ticket, maybe that comes with an NFT, or maybe there's a separate charge? Could we do it personalized, where we give people a template and they send us a photo of them and their family and friends from the game, and we create like a custom NFT that becomes their souvenir? We've done bobblehead giveaways in the past. Could you have NFT giveaways? Maybe it's a bobblehead, maybe it's not, but there's so many different possibilities, which I think is one of the allure for everybody, and the excitement around this new kind of class. What do you call it? Asset class, Alex? This new class of collectibles.
Brandon, do I have to say something nice about you again here? I feel like I might have to, and this is maybe, I'm going to do it in the softest way possible. He mentioned, all these great partners we have, and I think, I'll wind this all back around, but one thing I've noticed about our organization is you'll hear he never says the name like sponsor. It's always corporate partnership, and I think that is really, really important and easily lost. This group and Brandon's been the head of this for the last few years. They do a really, really good job of really making these companies feel like partners. And Peter Gruber's always said with a capital P, make people feel like a partner with a capital P. I think that's important. When you have a real legitimate relationship with the companies that you're working for, it's not a one-sided, you give us money, we put your name on things. But it's really about finding ways to impact site. That's important. That means a lot. And I think, with regards to this NFT program, I mean, we're not treating people like they're only fans. We're treating them like part of the family. We're saying, how can you be a part of what we're doing? How can we give you a piece of our history and you can really own it? And I think that's really, really cool. So this is my one rare time when I'm going to say Brandon does a really good job at this. He really makes everybody, whether it's corporate partner or, what we'll call a fan partner, a family member, makes them feel like a part of this. And that is huge. And you asked me at the very beginning about, the family atmosphere of the Warriors. It extends beyond just the team. It really does. And I think that, the fact that is a real, genuine relationship matters a lot.
We're probably going to, Kirk, we're going to take the recording of you saying that we're probably going to NFT it because it's so unique. So stay tuned for that. Then it's just so that it's documented forever. Okay, I want to, you kind of refer to something which I really want to touch on, which is all the fans and, and the reality of like not having fans in person for the last year. And maybe, David, I think, I would love to get your take on this. For the players, how was it to play in the bubble, not in front of your home team cheering you on or the opposition fans, trying to, boo you or distract every free throw? How do you think the game shifted during the bubble and now with, limited fans?
Yeah, so I think without having fans in the stands, it's definitely a different game for our guys. They feed off of the energy that comes through the crowd, that comes through the fans. And that's something that drives them to perform. Like this is a entertainment business, and they're putting on a show, and a great show at that for our fans. So I think you can kind of you saw it when we had our first little bit of fans in the building. I think we had close to 2,000 fans maybe 2 weeks ago, and that was a big lift for our players. And you can definitely tell similarly with seeing the way Clay responded to hearing those voices in the stands and hearing people around him. I think that's just something big. That's what you live for. That's what you dream about when you're a kid, is to play in these packed 20,000 foot arenas and have everyone screaming your name. So I definitely think that plays a part, and that was huge on our guys.
Yeah, it's just fascinating because I think the bubble and this year, I mean, not just for NBA, obviously for every sport, has been so different. And it's just kind of fascinating to just see how every sport has changed. And the bubble was like one interesting artifact. Okay, we're going to play a fun game now, and it's meant to get all of you in trouble maybe just a little bit. So Brandon, Kirk, David, are you folks ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, yeah, big time.
All right, so I'm going to list out a few names of people on the the team, and I would love for you to tell me, in rapid fire, one or two things that the world may not know about them. Could be about how they dress, what they choose to eat, anything at all. You folks ready?
Ready.
All right, Steve Kerr.
He wears Vans every day. He wears flip-flop Vans every single day. I did get him to try a new pair of shoes. There's a somewhat shameless plug for a company I like. He did try wearing Casca shoes the other day, CASCA. Loves them, but otherwise, he loves his Vans. And ever since the NBA dress code changed, Vans.
I got a bet. So that's good. I got a good Steve Kerr story. So we do all company town halls. I think every 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks during COVID, because we've been working from home, 13, 14 months. And Steve Kerr's Wi-Fi is not good. So we've had him on, and it like freezes up, and you're sitting there, and our staff is so excited. We've got 400 or 500 people on these things, and like Steve Kerr's like what they're waiting for, right? They hear all the business stuff, and they're like, yeah. And then Steve Kerr comes on, and then it's like the cliffhanger where he's talking about, he's in the middle of this story, and it just cuts off. So we're like, Steve, can we get your Wi-Fi set up, please?
I love it. But I was always kind of wondering whether there's an infinite supply of clipboards because he breaks them so often. But maybe on a more serious note, one thing I always admire about Steve, and I think, for example, like Greg Popovich also, is how vocal he is on social issues. So, could you talk about that part of Steve and how important that is?
Steve cares what he talks about. I mean, the thing about Steve is there's no bullshit. You're not getting somebody who's just going to say what they're being told to say, or talk about what other people want to talk. He's going to talk about what he cares about, and I respect that a ton. So you get someone who's really no bullshit, and he calls it like he sees it. He's passionate about some issues, and he's informed, and I really respect it. I've known Steve for 20-something years, since I was in middle school, and the guy is obviously much better in the last 10 years than the first 10, but the guy is real. He's genuine. He's real, and he cares about humanity, and that's absolutely awesome.
It's awesome. I mean, him and Pop are probably on the coach's side. I think a lot of people just respond to for their heart and how much they care. Okay, next person, Draymond.
Dave, come on! Don't make me do all these. You got this. You got Draymond.
Let's see. I would say like comedian off the court. Maybe a lot of people don't know, but he's like the funniest guy in our locker room. He's always talking mess to somebody, whether it's a teammate, whether it's, the video guy, whether it's, me rebounding for him. He's just a comedian.
Does he really know the names of the 36 players drafted before him?
Yes. And he probably knows every player in the 3 years drafted before that, too.
Yeah.
Genius.
Draymond's an incredible guy. I'll tell you, he was when my promotion was announced recently, he was one of the first people to text me.
Oh wow, that's awesome. It's amazing. Draymond feels like the heart and soul of the team. As important off court, in the locker room as he is on court.
100%. We call him the heartbeat, and that's legit. He's gonna piss you off at times. He's gonna rub people the wrong way, but that guy he's as real as they come. And he's as passionate as they come, and he's as smart as they come.
Okay. And then Clay.
Dave, come on. You've spent the last few days with Clay.
Yeah, silent killer Clay. He's the guy where, he might walk right past you or won't say anything to you, and then the next second he'll walk up behind you and start a 10-minute long conversation. It's kind of, silent killer. That's all I have.
How is it for someone like Clay, one of the greatest players of maybe all time, and then, having to sit out a couple of seasons, how hard is it for him, just not being able to contribute on the court?
So I'll say my one little story that I have. I hope he's not mad at me for saying this, but the last few days he's been working out. He's been working out in his full jersey. So that is how much that guy wants to play. He's been in here by himself. The team's on the road working out in his full jersey. It's amazing.
And I'll give knowing Zaza, he's probably listening to this, but so Zaza Pachulia, who played with Clay for a couple years, is retired from playing, but works with us. And it's been fun listening. We all know that the love affair between Zaza and Clay. So we've all seen the clips of those guys, working out together. But that's also a fun aspect. I think they used to have the bet on who was going to dunk more. So Clay's got a little more hops than Zaza does, but that's always a fun back and forth.
I always love those viral videos of Steph and everybody making fun of Clay's viral video of missing the dunk I think it was in China. Do you folks know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and finally, last definitely but not least, Steph.
I said this earlier. There's not a person who I'd put up against Steph. I mean, take away basketball. The guy is unreal. I really, this is not like me going above and beyond for a play. This guy is incredible. Everything that you think he is, he's more than that. Every dad would be like, I'd love this guy to marry my daughter. I mean, every company would be like, I would love for that guy to be, to work for us, lead us. The guy is absolutely better than real life. He's that incredible. And to think that he's just a scrawny, skinny little kid from Charlotte, North Carolina, is amazing because he's changed the game of basketball forever.
One of the things I always remember about Steph is, was even the Under Armour shoes with Steph that Twitter made fun of. And I always remember not that, but this press conference right after where Steph just defended them so much. And I think that speaks to how much, just as a partner, as a team player, not just off basketball. I was like, I was Under Armour. I would just really appreciate my, star player going to bat for me. So I think I always remember that incident, which is totally unrelated to basketball. Okay, so we almost out of time. Just for the last few minutes, I'm curious, right? This is kind of a weird year, as you folks pointed out. I totally expect you folks to, have a great run in the playoffs. Talk to us about not just next year, but the next few years. How are you thinking about, both the team and the organization? What do we all have to look forward to?
More championships? Can I say that? Is that okay? Can I put that out there? More championships?
I think you just did. So I would say yes. I meant to, Sriram, I meant to apologize earlier. This is a G-rated show. I had my beep, but I was a little slow on the uptick when Kirk was getting passionate talking about Kirk.
Oh, this is great. Please, we are not G-rated at all. There's a lot of swearing which happens here. Okay, well, this was awesome. I just want to thank all of you. Despite my reluctance as a LeBron fan, I have to say you folks have won me over. And I just want to thank, first of all, everybody here who listened in. We had such great tweets and feedback. This is actually the largest room on Clubhouse, right now. Really speaks to, not, I would say just the connection that you folks have built with, the Warrior fan base. And I want to thank all of you. I want to thank, Alex, for, always coming on and talking to us about NFTs and, what you're building, which is so unique. And I want to thank David, Brandon, and Kirk, who all seem to surprisingly like each other despite their claims of not to. And I'll just congratulate them on just involvement with one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. I will never ever repeat this, but it is true. So thank you all so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much. This was awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, thanks so much for having us. A lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Can I put one more tiny plug in here? I just want to let you know our players have been asking David about this NFT program for the last few days, and it's possible that some of them are bidding on some of these, which is really, really cool. So hopefully David helped them set up their wallets. Dave, make sure you get that done, but they've been all over this.
Yeah, that's a good point. You told me when you said Klay Thompson, that should have been your comment, Fatoki, that he's buying number 11.
That's all I'll say. Watch out for those jersey numbers. The guys want their jersey numbers.
I love that. And I think, goes for everyone listening, go check out the NFT. Do it soon. Some of the ends on Saturday and then Sunday. But it's going to be awesome. So go check it out. Okay. Now, we have a tradition on the show, which is we play out with a song which is connected to either the guest or the theme of the show. And it's like, I'm trying to feel like, what song should I play for you folks? And I have a song in mind, and which is connected to Steve and Steph and Drake. I can tell a story if one of you if you folks don't know the story. I wanted to play Drake's Free Smoke. Can one of you talk about the story behind it?
Dave, this feels like it's all you.
Ooh, is that connected? Ooh, Free Smoke from Drake. This is a great song. Mm-hmm. And I think the connection will be that no one wants any smoke with us. No one can handle us. We're the best in the business.
I love it. Well, there's also one more connection, which is, and this comes from Steve in an interview. It's actually public, which is Steve fined Steph, for being late to the plane because he was hanging out with Drake. And in the song, there's a line which says, "I took the team plane from Oracle."
I love it.
True story. Drake did take the team plane from Oracle with us.
There you go. Well, folks, it's been such a blast. Thank you so much for being on. For everyone listening, go check out the NFT. It is so unique. Thank you, everyone. Here's Drake with Free Smoke. Have a good weekend, everybody. Good night.